Good afternoon, everybody. My name is Carl. I'm a recovery coach at Calvary Recovery. This is a family meeting for the day. And a topic I picked was 7 strategies to deal with difficult family members. We all have family members who are difficult, and even people outside of the family. So here's some of the key points that we're going to start off with. Not getting along with a family member may strain other family relationships, making it hard to separate oneself entirely. Trying to fix a difficult family member can be impossible. Very true. The more one tries to do so, the more demands the difficult person makes. It's important to recognize and stop an interaction with a difficult family member when it's no longer about solutions and only about winning. Difficult people are everywhere, like it or not. It's pretty certain that at some point in your life, you'll come across a challenging person and will have to find a way to deal with them. It would be easy to think, why bother? If being around them causes grief, but it's not as easy as that. Sometimes we're just forced into situations we have a little control over. Being related is one such circumstances. In fact, family members are often the hardest to deal with because they are connected to us in more complicated and intimate way with difficult acquaintances like friends, colleagues, lovers, or neighbors. You may have to deal with them for a time, either until a conflict between you is resolved, or you are able to remove yourself from the situation. With family, we are almost obligated to go the extra mile for the sake of the integrity of the family group. In other words, personal relationships may affect the family as a whole. If you don't get along with a family member, it may very well put stress and strain on other family relationships. So what do you do? With those people you may not like very much and may not choose to have in your life, but are forced to deal with because they are family. So we're talking about family, and I think I'll stick with this is like instead of having acquaintances, day-to-day people that we interact with, or we can have more patience and tolerance with. But when we're family members, we're usually dealing with them on a daily basis, the ones closest to us, so we have more interaction with them when we're around. So our tolerance and patience can get a little more thinner. And it's hard. It's hard to deal with family members. It's hard to deal with people outside the family. But it takes principles to deal with people, right? And for me, I'm not so good to deal with either sometimes, right? But I try my best, and but I think it's very hard, especially with family members, to be more loving and caring because they can get under their skins. They know how to push their buttons, right? And so to deal with them, we can act out of anger, frustration, verbally saying some not nice things. Um, and it talks about being forced to deal with because you're their family. Um, Today, I try to even if it's family or close friends, if they're not, I want to say, they're not good for my recovery, if they're not good for my mental state, and they're adding on stress and adding on chaos and acting out behaviors that I don't approve of or I don't want to associate myself with, I eliminate myself. That's the best way to describe it. I try to eliminate myself because I don't want to be around that because like I've been through that in active addiction and I don't want to be like that in recovery. So even as family, best friends, or whatever, if I am not participating in something that I don't belong in. So it's I love you, I care about you, but I love you from afar, and I'm here for you if you need help. But no, or not, I can't associate with some of the stuff or some of the things you do or say. I can't be a part of. So we'll go to number one. Don't try to fix the difficult person. Yeah, you ain't fixing nobody. Only thing you hear is be visible and available and lead by example, right? Accept them exactly as they are. This applies to all difficult people, not just family. It's tempting to try to help someone you want to care about. You probably will make some efforts to help them. Sometimes it works, but often your efforts will not be rewarded. In fact, trying to fix someone or make their life better may become a huge headache. Yeah, since the more you do for them, the more they want from you. Except they are unable to change, at least at this point in time, unless you see real change, proof that in person is making an effort to listen and meet you halfway. You can assume that their behavior is what it is always been, and it's important to temper your expectations about what others can do and want to do. So, accepting exactly who they are, and that's hard sometimes because we want to fix, manage, control, right? And we know what's best sometimes that we think, and trying to fix somebody, it just don't. And talks about you can add more stress, more headaches, and making your life unmanageable, all because you want to change this person, which it just goes in a vicious circle of more drama, and can cause a lot of conflict. You and the individual and other family members and other people outside of family, right? So it can cause a kind of conflict. It can cause a lot of uh, grief, stress, anxiety, depression. A lot of that can really arise. Um, so we'll go to two. Be present and direct. That person is trying to stir up conflict and easily set you up off emotionally and even physically, possible raising your heart rate and blood pressure. Try to avoid getting into a fight or flight response, which eventually leads to becoming defensive. You do not want an argument or heated discussion. Stay true to yourself, grounded in your own integrity. Be direct and assertive when you express yourself. Stay focused on how you respond. Know when the discussion or argument has accelerated to the point of no return, meaning it is no longer about conflict resolution, but just about winning. If it gets to this point, stop the interaction and leave the conversation. And that's hard sometimes. Stop the conversation and leave. And when somebody thinks they're right, and I've learned in recovery, there's no right and wrong, right? It's about the solution, right? And we always can point out our opinions and beliefs and what we think, and the other person can do, and we can go back and forth and go back and forth, tit for tat, and we're just adding fuel to the fire. And a lot of people like winning, right? We're right, you're wrong. You know what I mean? That's not getting to the solution. You're not going to have healthy relationships that way. You're not going to have healthy conversations. So it's like, and your demeanor, what you say, how you say it, your body language, this all plays a part, you know, in our relationships, especially with family and people in the world. Um, it takes it's different with family. That's what I'm trying to kind of say a little bit. It's different with family than you know different everyday people. Because there's more involved with family. There's different more emotions and feelings and intimate relationships that we deal with our family, and it can be tough. So number two was be present and direct. We'll go on to number three. Do encourage difficult people to express themselves. Let them fully state their point of view about the issue, conflict, problem without interruption. Why do we feel judged or criticized by others? What do they feel people misunderstand about them? What do they want to expect from others? The idea is to remain as neutral as possible. Just listening rather than trying to engage may be enough to allow someone to feel like they have the opportunity to say what's on their mind. Showing respect for another's difference may go a very long way. Um, I'm very big on this. I like to express myself. I like to get my points out. I like to, um, express how I feel and stuff like that. But sometimes I don't want feedback. I really don't. I just want to get it out and sometimes not engaging in conversation, it goes a long way. Weird as that sounds, right? Sometimes I just need to vent. I just need to get things out. Um, and like, especially, I don't know, for me, like I go to narcotics anonymous, I go to any meetings and stuff like that, and sharing sessions and stuff like that. Sometimes it's great to share. You have to share, right? You have to get things out. But sometimes I don't like to share because then I got people coming up to me afterwards, right? And which I need sometimes, but like I don't like the feedback sometimes. I just want to get it out and let it go and be done with it, right? But sometimes I do need that feedback. I need that encouragement, that engagement of encourage me and stuff like that. But a lot of times I don't. Just let them express themselves, let them talk, and try to gauge in when you want to do talk to them or say something, right? Um, so we'll go into number 4. Watch for trigger topics. There will be topics that represent points of disagreement and disharmony. Know what these topics are and be extremely aware that when these are brought up, your past experiences should help you, especially when you are confronted with these delicate subjects. Be prepared to address these issues in a direct, non confrontational way or to deflect the conflict if the atmosphere becomes too heated. So I know sometimes with my girlfriend and sometimes with other family members, I know what to say to fuel their fire, right? I know how to push their buttons. I know what to say and I know what to stay away from. I know because we build these relationships, we get personal and stuff like that. So we get to know one each other, right? And we try to stay a certain way from certain topics so we don't get them sad or angry or frustrated. So we try to be careful what we say sometimes, and because what we say and how we say things can really play a big part in our relationships. And we'll go to number 5. Know that some topics are absolutely off limits. Yeah, no, when there's a no, 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 say no. Here, the history and experiences should tell you that these subjects should be avoided at all costs. That's not to say that important issues should be permanently avoided. Rather, if you're experiencing dealing with certain issues that has left you stressed out or emotionally depleted, and the discussion has not progressed sufficiently long to represent a, I don't know what that word is, wrap or put, I don't know. I'm sorry, I don't know what that word is. And it is best to avoid the discussion until a time when both parties are willing to move it forward in a constructive way. So there's some things that are off limits that we don't try to discuss. Maybe not discuss with that person or at that time. Right? There's always a place and time for things, right? But there's some things that you just as soon as you say something, it's going to be all out war, right? And you know what button to push or what button to say, So there's some things there's time and day for it, and just a lot of topics that you got to be aware of not to address. Not with that person, but maybe with somebody else. But you get to know people. You know your family members. You know your personal relationships, so you know what to say, and sometimes you know what not to say. We'll go number 6. It's not all about you. Usually, it says. Yes, it's hard not to take things personally, especially when you're attacked or made to feel responsible for someone else. But if you look like at the autonomy of conflict, you can see how these often play out. Notice how people progressively move through a discussion or argument. Usually, it's intentional centers around a specific topic. Disagreement response that made a person upset. If allowed to continue, the argument can become heated quickly to personal attacks, which often includes trying to make you feel responsible or guilty for not responding the way someone wants you to. If you have been through this kind of interaction before, make a concerted effort to image and unfolding before it actually does, and then nip it in the bud. Yeah, so I can get feel like I can get attacked sometimes. Sometimes I can take things personally, but a lot of times it's not about me. I gotta step back and really assess what's going on. And somebody can be saying something or addressing something, right? But it's really about how they feel and what they think. But I can personalize it, right? I can take it as I can be defensive, and I've seen that a lot of times. I can get that way, especially when I feel like I'm doing good and doing right, right? And then like somebody can make a comment, not what I'm expecting them to say. I can get very defensive. I can get upset too. So I got to sit back and like assess the situation and figure out, you know, do I need to get better in this situation, or did I do good in this situation, or it's just not completely about me. It's not always about me. Um, and we'll go into number 7, and this is the last one. Your own well-being comes first. And a lot of times we put ourselves last on the list, right? So while you want to be respectful and attentive to others as much as you can, you don't want to be bend over backwards or twist yourself into a knot just to make someone else happy or satisfied or to keep peace. Ever allow any personal interaction or relationship to infringe upon and challenge your own well-being? Visualize your boundaries, that protective territory between you and someone else. No one is entitled to accompany your space unless you invite them in. And then there's a special situation there where families gather together for a special occasion or holiday. It's best to plan ahead so that you have a good idea about how time will be spent with relatives. Don't leave too much unplanned time. You don't want to get into a situation where you're left alone with a difficult family member with whom you have an issue or conflict. Someone who confronts challenges, incites, aggravates, and basically pushes your buttons. Surround yourself with people you get along with, supportive people who care about you, people who you are there to enjoy their time. So we're talking about the people that you surround yourself with, right? And I touched on it a little bit earlier. I'll be honest with you, I don't care if it's family members or best friends, it's people I grew up with, or if it's conflict, if it's chaos, if it ain't beneficial, if it's not, pushing me to be better or pushing me forward, and it's always something going on, stress, anxiety, it's just list can go on, right? I'm taking myself out of the situation. Like I said earlier, I love you, I care about you, but it's not good for the both of us. It's really not. And it says your own well-being comes first, and talks about a little bit of boundaries. You got to set them boundaries and stick with them. If you let people cross them boundaries, then they'll keep on trying to do it. Giving them slack, and then they're pushing your buttons even more, so because they know they can get over. So you come first, right? If you're not good, you're not good with the world, right? I've learned that too. So you always come first, right? But especially it's hard to deal with family members at times, But I think that was a good topic of 7 strategies to deal with difficult family members. We all have family members who are difficult. We all have friends who are difficult, and so that was the end of our meeting. Carl, Recovery Coach at Recovery. Until next time, we'll be seeing you later.